How does an air force with fewer resources thread a path through what's called an absolute firewall? Watch the decoys trigger the trap, the radar belts overheat, and the upgraded MiG-29 slide into the gap they create. We'll follow the exact penetration corridor past Panzer S-1 and S-500 Promet, and why only 2 missiles needed to survive to change the calculus. By the end, you'll understand the trade. Millions in drones sacrificed, minutes of chaos bought, and the 2 impacts that said Moscow can't claim invulnerable anymore. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. They didn't start with fighters, they started with noise. Why launch millions in drones just to lose them? Because the first job is not to kill anything. It's to make the other side feel blind for long enough that their habits take over. 15 TB2s lift off in staggered waves from dispersed strips, each one preloaded with a route that threads across known radar lobes around the capital. They are clocks with wings, and every clock is set to ring a different console at a different second. The opening act looks messy by design. The first 3 crossbeam edges at mid-altitude and clip alert thresholds without lingering. 2 more drag low, skimming folds in the terrain that amplify clutter. Another pair climbs and drifts, then dips, then drifts again, smearing their returns into background. The next wave arrives off schedule on purpose. Operators expect a rhythm. Instead, they get syncopation. In the scope room, the clean picture turns into a puzzle with missing corners. Russian belts respond fast. Panzer S-1 units pivot and spin up, short-range guardians ready to swat anything that sneaks near rooftops. Buck M3 batteries kick from standby to hot, elevating launchers, slaving illumination radars and reserving tracking channels. Interceptors claw into the air to hunt, but the big question hangs in the air. Where is the main threat? No one can answer while screens flash with targets that don't behave like a single raid. The choreography is the weapon. Some TB2s broadcast false signatures that resemble clustered small craft. Others run quiet and narrow, chopping emissions to trip filters used to discard birds and hobby drones. Bearings don't align. Altitudes don't stack. A few cross arcs where 2 radars' side lobes overlap, creating duplicate tracks that take manual sorting. The easy choice would be to pick one sector and clean it. The drones don't allow that choice. They tug attention in 5 directions at once. Radar is not just about range, it is about time on target management. Every engagement burns through more than missiles. It consumes the focus of crews, the capacity of data links, and the limited number of tracking channels that can be assigned at once. When an operator locks, the system commits. When a missile flies, a channel stays tied up until it fuses or misses. Enough of that, and the network loses the slack it needs to handle a surprise. The cost frame adds pressure. Each TB2 is a deliberate loss, a $5 million chip pushed into the pot. Each interceptor shot reaches into 6 or 7 figures. That exchange is the point. Money drains outward, and so does attention, pulled from the inner rings that guard the core. Outer defenses feel busy, which is another way of saying the inner defenses feel alone. Electronic intelligence pings show Enlia 100 monitoring surge with contacts. Those screens fill with metadata as the system strains to label and prioritize. A lone UAV to the northwest rides the wind along a civilian corridor profile. It hums inside expected speed and altitude, copying traffic that should be there at that hour. It steals scrutiny from the flank that matters. Small delays stack. A channel lock here. A sector tilt to chase a low contact there. A handoff between search and fire control that arrives 1 beat late. 2 minutes, then 3. Open like a hairline crack between belts. The radars refresh. The operators reset. But gaps have lives measured in seconds, and this one is alive. The window opens. Not long, not wide. Enough. Cameras track the burning decoys as if the story sits in those flames. It doesn't. 10 MiG-29s have already crossed the first line, riding the quiet under the noise you just watched get built. The 10 MiG-29s don't try to outrun the belts. They erase themselves inside them. How do legacy fighters get within missile range of the most guarded airspace in Europe? They treat the map like a signal problem, not a geography problem. The route was drawn from gaps inside ground clutter, river valleys that roll radar energy up and away, and the geometry of radar lobes that leave thin slices of weaker coverage. Each jet carries low observable skins and heat-dampening work that trades top speed for survivability. The rest is software discipline. Emit when needed, lie low when not, and let the ground do the hiding. They move as a file, then spread as the corridor narrows. A long-range Podzol radar scrapes a faint smear at the edge of its range gate. A contact that looks more like weather than metal S500 Promet queuing tries to firm it up for a handover, but the return refuses to settle. It wobbles, then fades, then returns, as if the source can't decide what it is. The smear never hardens into a track worth firing on. And that is the effect the upgrades were bought to create. The upgrades are simple to explain and hard to counter. Radar-absorbent coatings soak part of the energy that hits them, so the echo that comes back is weaker. Edge treatments break straight lines into angles that scatter energy away from the antenna. Exhaust mixers dump cooler air into the plume, shaving the heat that infrared seekers love to chase. The digital suite does quiet tricks with emissions, dithering transponder blips and navigation noise so they blend into civilian clutter. None of this makes a jet vanish. It changes how it looks and when it appears. Pairs peel off the line and take up offsets. They match speed to the ground wind to stabilize their drift over fixed features. They nudge closer to power corridors where electrical noise already muddies receivers. Each crew keeps the nose and wings at angles that keep radar cross-section spikes down. Small bank changes ripple through the formation like a metronome as they flow from shadow to shadow. The cockpits stay busy, but the workload is planned, and each task has a time box. The math behind it is blunt. An 87% reduction in detectability does not turn a fighter into a ghost. It pushes detection outward from shoot range into warning range, and sometimes past it that compresses the defender's reaction time. Radar must see, classify, track, and assign a weapon before the geometry closes. If those steps start late, they finish late, and late gets punished. They still take scares. A Panzer S-1 on a roofline snaps awake on an unexpected glint when a pair crosses a sun angle wrong. The lead hears the tone change and slides behind a warehouse row. Both jets drop a handful of meters and bank 2 beats before the lock matures. The glint dies. The radar cools back to search. The formation exhales through oxygen masks and rolls back to task. Weapons run on logic, not heroics. 20 air-to-surface missiles leave in a timed fan, each on dead reckoning first, then skimming terrain, then taking data link nudges to keep arrival tight. The goal is one moment, not a stream. The inner ring wakes into a near-perfect defense. 18 intercepts bloom and wink out. 2 ride a blind seam created by handoffs and refresh. 1 detonates near the Kremlin guest house. The other breaks glass streets away and leaves alarms bleeding. The city pauses for a breath it didn't know it was holding. Now the ledger opens, and with it, the message those 2 impacts carried. 2 missiles out of 20 is not luck. It is timing and saturation creating engineered ambiguity that turns a fortress into a maze. The attack showed how tight sequencing, decoys, and late warning compress reaction cycles until even elite defenses cough. The message reached beyond craters. We do not need to win today. We only need them to understand that we can win. That line explains the calculus. If a lean force buys 3 minutes of chaos with drones to land 2 hits on power, what else gets traded tomorrow? Subscribe and tell us the play you'd make. The firewall held and still failed.